Hey everybody, today is January the 6th, 2021, and we are still working on division. We are talking about strategies that we can use to divide with equal shares. Today we're going to be using an array to divide equally. We're learning this so that we can share in equal amounts. You're going to know you're successful when you can persevere through the problem even when they are hard, or even when it's hard. I can find the number that represents how many groups or how many in each group. So you might be asked that question to where you have to find out how many groups there are or how many in each group. And you can use models and or drawings to show sharing. So today we're going to be using the model of an array to help us with sharing. So division using arrays. How can we use arrays to help us find the answer to a division problem? So our learning objective is I will use models to solve division problems involving sharing and record solutions using division number sentences. So we're going to talk about those number sentences today and how they relate to sharing. So let's go over our vocabulary word again. If you did not get to write it down in your journal, please do so. But division is an operation where you can use to find how many groups or how many there are in each group. So that's what we discussed when I was reading over our target for today. So we're either going to be looking for how many groups there are or how many are in each group, depending on how the question is written. I want you to look at this model. I've put it on the PowerPoint and the video for the last 3 days. I want you to see that there are other ways to model a division problem. So you're going to see a yellow arrow that is located here. That arrow is going the full length of these 3 boxes that are actually connected in between. So this arrow represents a number here that is the whole number that we're starting with. We have 18. So we don't have more than 18. We have 18. And the problem is asking us to divide that into 3 groups. It's wanting us to decide how many are in each group. So if I look down at this problem, I see a part. It takes those parts put back together to equal the whole. So if I'm looking at this and I'm trying to decide how many are in 3 groups, I would start placing them in each part until I found out how many I would get to equal 18. So most of us already know that 6 times 3 or 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18. So my parts here are 6 and they all equal the whole. Now, yesterday I had a conversation with my group that I worked with yesterday, and we were discussing about all 4 operations that we learned in math. And we know that addition makes numbers get bigger. When I'm adding, the numbers are getting larger. But what happens when I subtract? Are my numbers getting larger? I hope you're saying no, because actually they get smaller. As you're taking away, you're getting a smaller number. Now, when we multiply, what happens to our number? Yes, it gets larger. It gets larger. So what do you think is going to happen with division? Now remember, we're starting with a whole and we're breaking it into parts. So when we break it into parts, our number becomes smaller. Now, in division also, this first number is called the dividend. It's the number that's being divided. This number is the divisor. It is what we're dividing it into. We're breaking it into groups of 3. And the answer to a division problem is the quotient. So if I were to say, what is the quotient of 18 divided by 3, then you know you're going to be looking for a division answer, that you must use division to find it because of the word quotient. It is the answer to a division problem. So with that being said, we can now move forward and think about how we could use an array to solve a division problem. So let's think about that. Now, in the classes with Miss Bates' homeroom and with Miss O'Brien's homeroom, we determined that just like addition and subtraction have a relationship, they can undo one another. We found out that multiplication and division have that same relationship, that they can undo one another. So it's called inverse. It's an inverse operation, meaning that I can use division to help me check my answers on multiplication, and I can use multiplication to help me check my answer for division, because they undo one another, and I can use that to help me determine whether or not I'm correct. So let's look at the very first problem we have. This problem says that Carson has 42 pieces of candy that he wants to share with 6 of his friends. How many pieces of candy does each friend get? So we're looking to see how many pieces of candy 6 friends are going to get. And can we, think about this before we start working through it, can we use an array to help us solve that? I hope you're saying yes, because I just told you about a relationship between multiplication and division. And we used arrays in multiplication, so why couldn't we use them in division? So let's look at how we could set this problem up in an array to start working out how many each friend is going to get. So we already know, and this is what's important here, we already know that the whole number is 42. And we know that we're going to break it into groups, 6 equal groups. We're looking for how many are in each group. So to be able to do that, we're going to have to start placing 6 in we'll have 6 rows so that we can start giving each person that candy. So I'm going to show you what that would look like in an array. Before I do that, I want to also show you what it's going to look like in a division sentence. So we know that we have a total or a whole of 42. 42. Now, if I'm wanting to divide, and you've got to remember that sometimes we have division signs on our calculator, and sometimes in our computer program, which we probably do in this one. But I wanted to show you, just in case you weren't sure, what else represents division. There is a little slash mark that you can use to show division. So you're going to put a slash, and then we also know that there are 6 friends. Now, I don't know the answer, so I can't just put the answer here. I've got to put what information I've been given, because yesterday I noticed that in my class that some people were putting the answer as the divisor. We don't know that answer yet. We don't know that quotient yet. We do know that there's 42 pieces to be shared with 6 friends. So our division sentence would be 42 divided by 6. And then we're going to try to find out what that equals. And I'm going to put a variable there. So now I have a number sentence to represent this problem. Now, we're going to go and look at what an array would look like to help you with this problem. But before I do, I'm also going to show you where you can find those special characters to help you with the division sign. So you're going to hit 42, and I'm going to space. You're going to take your cursor and you're going to go up here to insert. You're going to look down through here, and there is a part that says special characters. Then it takes you to this page here. I'm going to go ahead and type in division, and it pulls up that sign for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that sign, and it should place it into my equation. Divided by 6 equals A. So again, you can find that by hitting insert, special characters, and then you can just type in what you need. So I typed in division, and there's also a division sign that looks like this. There's a division sign here that we just used, that slash. This is also a division sign that you could use to help you with this particular problem. So again, you can find that division sign on there if you need to. If not, you can just use the slash. Either way is perfectly fine. So now let's take a look at what this array would look like. All right, so now we have an array that has 6 rows. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to come up here and get that handy dandy drawing tool that I use that I don't do well with. I'm looking in the wrong place already. I'm going to scribble, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to start drawing a line to break that array up. And then I'm going to look at how many are in each row. So if I'm trying to decide how many pieces Carson is going to give his friends, then I'm going to see that in each of his friends' rows, because I represented his friends by these 6 rows here, in each row there are 7. There are 7. So the answer to that division problem that we just did, 42 divided by 6 equals 7. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that would look like in that division sentence. So in this particular problem, my division sentence would be 42 divided by 6 equals A, just like we talked about earlier. And now we know that A is equal to 7 because there are 7 given in each row, which represents my 6 friends that Carson has. Okay, so in this particular problem, 42 divided by 6 equals 7. One thing that I want you to keep in mind, again, when we're doing these problems, you're not going to put 42 divided by 7 because we don't know 7 yet. We're going to take the information from the word problem. We knew 42, we knew 6. Those are the numbers that we're going to use to find the answer to this particular problem. Today, for your lesson work, you're going to do IXL. It's I5, which means you're going to be using arrays and writing division sentences or finding division sentences and multiplication sentences that match. If I am writing a multiplication sentence for this problem to see if it's going to be correct, then I'm going to use my knowledge of multiplication, which is, I know that if I multiplied 6, that divisor, times the quotient, 7, it should equal 42. So our multiplication sentence would take the 2 numbers here, the divisor and the quotient, and multiply them to get 42. And I can do that by just counting here. I can count all of these triangles and it will show me that there are 42. So you can use your multiplication sentence to show that. So you're going to do IXL, I5, you're going to do the problem of the day, and once you're finished, then you're going to click Turn In. Do not click Turn In until you finish both IXL and the problem of the day. I hope everybody has a great day. We will be available sometime today after our whole group meet and our small group meets, but we do have a meeting at 1 o'clock, so if you get on and we're not there, come back on, keep checking back to see if we've gotten back on so that you can ask your question. Hope to see everybody soon. Have a great day. And I forgot to give you that key word. Remember, we're thinking healthy, I said yesterday. So today I'm going to say orange so that you can get your vitamin C.